Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing fine and are taking care of yourselves. My name is Kanika Tandon and I'm here with the video of Class 6 English 2nd. As your unit tests are over, we are back with your online videos and online classes. So today we are going to start the explanation of new chapter, that is chapter number 8, Monday mornings. As you all know, this chapter has already come in your unit test, but because of the days I couldn't complete it in the YouTube videos, so I'm taking these chapters again so that it will be easy for you to learn from them in your annual examinations. So chapter number 8 is Monday morning. So this story is about a little boy whose name is Tom Sawyer, who is a very intelligent kid but is very lazy about going to the school. He always thinks of something that can make him stay at his home even on Mondays. So let us read what the story is all about. So this story is about a mischievous boy called Tom Sawyer who does not like going to school on Mondays. He is very intelligent and often uses his imagination and acting skills to gain his aunt's sympathy. He usually succeeds, but sometimes he doesn't. Let us read about how he tries to avoid going to school. Monday morning found Tom Sawyer miserable. Monday mornings always found him so because they began another week's slow suffering in school. He generally began that day with wishing he had no holiday in between. It made it more difficult to go back to school. So, Monday mornings always made Tom Sawyer very unhappy because he knew that if Monday means starting the new week and he'll get new tasks in the school, new things to do in the school, so he just wants to avoid that day and not go to the school on Mondays especially. Tom lay thinking. Soon he wished he was sick, then he could stay home from school, and now he's thinking that okay, I wish I was a little sick so that I could stay at my home and not go to the school. Here he thought that there was some chance. He canvassed his system. No alignment was found and he investigated again. And then what happened? Now he thought that okay, there is something he could possibly think of that could make him sick, or that could make his aunt believe that he is actually sick. So he investigated carefully, and then he realized that there is no illness that was found, and that could make him not go to the school. This time he thought he could feel colicky symptoms and began to encourage them with much hope. And then he thought that he could plan of something, like he has some stomach ache or something that could make his aunt believe that he is not well and he cannot go to the school. But they soon grew feeble, and soon he could feel nothing. But then nothing happened. He reflected further. Suddenly he discovered something. One of his upper teeth was loose. This was lucky, and he was about to begin to groan. And then what happened? When he could not possibly think of anything, he realized that one of his teeth that is on his upper jaw is actually loose. So he tried to think that okay, he could make his aunt believe that he has a tooth pain, and that could make his aunt not send him to the school. But then he thought that if he told his aunt, she would pull his tooth out and that would hurt. So he thought he would find something else. He could find nothing for some time. Then what happened? He actually thought that if he tell his aunt about this tooth, she could pull it off, and then there will be no tooth remaining and it would actually hurt him. So he then tried to think about something else. Then he remembered hearing the doctor talk about a disease that could make someone lose a finger. So the boy eagerly drew his sore toe from under the sheet and held it up for inspection. But now he did not know the necessary symptoms. However, he thought that the toe should ache anyway, so he fell to groaning with considerable spirit. So what happened once when he was watching television, he heard a doctor that there is some disease that could make somebody lose a finger. So now he thought that okay, he could make a he could lie to his aunt that he is having a toe pain in his leg, in his foot, and that could make his aunt not send him to school, and that he could tell his aunt that he is having that disease that the doctor was talking about in the TV. But he did not know the actual symptoms. He did not know what actually happens when somebody has that disease. However, he thought that okay, whatsoever is going to happen, he will have a toe ache anyway. So he fell on the ground and started to moan about it, started to cry about the pain that he thinks that he has in his toe. But Sid, his brother, slept on unconscious. Tom groaned louder and imagined that he began to feel the pain in the toe. So now what happened? His brother, whose name was Sid, who was sleeping on the side bed, he was sleeping unconscious. He did not know what is happening to his brother. But then Tom fell on the ground and groaned a little louder and imagined that okay, he is having pain in his toe. Still no reaction from Sid. Tom was beginning to feel tired by this time. He took a rest and then took a deep breath and started groaning very loudly. But Sid slept on. Tom was aggravated. He got irritated and he said, "Sid, Sid," and shook him. This seemed to work well and Tom began to groan again. And then what happened? He made Sid get up, and this made Sid got up, and he actually noticed what happened to his brother. Sid yawned, stretched and turned, woke up with a snort and began to stare at Tom. Tom went on groaning, said Tom, "Hey Tom." There was no response from Tom. So what happened now, when Sid has actually gotten up from the sleep, he actually looks at Tom and realizes that okay, Tom is having some problem. He's having some kind of ache. That is why he's groaning like this. So he got up and asked Tom about what has happened to him, but there was no response from Tom. "Hey Tom, what is the matter, Tom?" And he shook him and looked at his face anxiously. And now what happened? He actually asked him what happened, but he could not realize anything. He could not see what has happened. He could not figure out what has happened to him. So he was looking at his face in a very nervous manner. Tom moaned out, "Oh, don't Sid, don't joggle me." That joggle means to move somebody up and down. We ask, whenever somebody is sleeping, we shook him and ask whether he's sleeping or not. So he was asking Sid not to shook him in this way. "Why, what's the matter, Tom? I must call aunt." "No, never mind, it will be over soon. Maybe, don't call anybody." "But I must, don't groan, Tom, it's awful. How long have you been growing?" Now Sid is not feeling good about it, that his brother is actually in pain. So he asked Tom to whether he should call his aunt or not. But Tom, as he was acting, he actually said no, because he had to act a little in front of his brother to make them believe that okay, that he is having a pain and that aunt will not send him to school. "Ours, ouch. Oh, don't shake me, Sid, you will kill me." "Tom, why didn't you wake me sooner?" "Oh Tom, don't. It makes me frightened to hear you." "Tom, what is the matter?" Now it is actually making Sid frightened. Sid is actually scared because he cannot see his brother in pain. And now Sid is asking Tom that what has happened with him. "I forgive you everything, Sid. Everything you have ever done to me. When I'm gone, oh Tom, you ain't dying, are you?" "Don't, Tom. Oh, don't. Maybe." "I forgive everybody, Sid. Tell them so, Sid. And Sid, you give my cat with one eye to that new girl that's come to the town and tell her But Sid had run out of the room. Tom was suffering in reality now, so well was his imagination working. So his groans now sounded very real. So what happened? Tom is actually acting like he's going to die. So he is telling Sid to give all of his materials or all of the belongings that he has to a girl that has come new to the town. And now, since Tom was actually imagining all of this, his imagination was working very properly, and that made Sid and everybody believe that he is actually in pain. Sid ran downstairs and said, "Oh, Aunt Polly, come, Tom's dying." "Dying? Yes, don't wait, come quick." "Rubbish, I don't believe it." Now Sid has asked Aunt Polly that to come to the room because Tom is dying. But Aunt Polly knew how mischievous Tom was, so she did not believe him and said that I don't believe him, because she knew that he is actually very mischievous. But she ran upstairs nevertheless, with Sid at her heels, and her face grew white too, and her lips trembled. When she reached the bedside, she gasped, "You, Tom, what's the matter with you?" But she, despite knowing the fact that Tom is actually very mischievous, she got really scared about, because she did not know what has happened to Tom. And her face went pale, and her lips trembled. And when she reached the room, she directly asked Tom, "What's the matter with him?" "Oh, Aunt, I am." "What is the matter with you? What is the matter with you, child?" "Oh, Aunt, my sore toes mortified," which means that Tom actually told his aunt that his toe is actually dead and decayed. The old lady sank down in a chair and laughed a little, then cried a little, then did both together. This made her feel better and said, "Tom, what a turn you gave me. Now you shut up that nonsense and climb out of this." Then she realized that, okay, Tom has been acting. I mean, that was not such a big issue. So she asked Tom to get up, stop that nonsense, and climb out of the bed. The groan ceased, and the pain vanished from toe. The boy felt a little foolish, and he said, "Aunt Polly, it seems mortified, and it hurts so much that I never felt the pain in my tooth at all." "Your tooth, indeed. What is the matter with your teeth now?" "One of them's loose, and it aches a lot." There now, don't begin that groaning again. Open your mouth." "Well, your tooth is loose, but you are not going to die about that." Then Aunt Polly made him understand that he is not going to die either with the toe pain or with the toothache. Tom actually told Aunt Polly that his toe was paining so much that he could not feel the pain that was actually happening in his teeth. Tom said, "Oh, please, Auntie, don't pull it out. It doesn't hurt anymore. Please don't, Auntie. I don't want to stay home from school." "Oh, you don't you? So all this noise was because you thought you would get to stay home from school and go fishing?" Tom, I love you so, and you seem to try every way you can to break my old heart with your outrageousness. Now that tooth will come out on its own. Go to sleep now, and we'll decide what to do when you wake up." So now Aunt Polly has actually understood that Tom actually does that to break her old heart, so that she gets so senti with his pain that she would not send him to the school. But he actually fails all the time. With this chapter is over, and I will give you the exercise and the question answers of this chapter in my next video, which will come after 4th of January or on 4th of January because of the winter vacations. So I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Take care and thank you.